Welcome to the Final Percent podcast with my guest today, the mighty, the mythical, the magical Alysia. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Greg. How are you doing?
I'm so excited that you agreed to be on my podcast today. Here's the thing. You are one of my favorite people that I get to hang out with, that I get to coach. I get to, just experience the way that you live life. Because a lot of people think that what you've accomplished so far is beyond their reach. How old are you?
I'm 21 years old.
21 years old. And how many properties do you have ownership in?
30 Airbnbs.
30 Airbnbs. I just got off of a national tour. That almost made me want to cough. It was like 30 Airbnbs, 21. What? These are some of my favorite conversations because a lot of people go through life living the default life. And I just posted this thing about, imagine playing Monopoly where you just never buy property, you never create cash flow producing assets, and you just go around the board collecting $200 trying to stay out of jail. That's how most people live their life. Right. And then at 21, obviously you had to make a decision that was not right now. You planted seeds a while ago, starting in real estate. And now there's a lot of people that I know. I'm just getting off of a national real estate tour. And, there's people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, probably 80s, looking at you going, how in the world were you able to accomplish such an amazing thing? So we're going to dig into some of the decisions that you made. We're going to dig into some of the journeys that you've taken, because here's the thing. I want people to understand that the idea of age really is just an idea. I was just listening to a Lewis Howes podcast, and he went out and he was talking about how your biological age and then the age of how many birthdays you've had are usually two very different things. So that's from a mental age that you have, that's your biological age, and then you've got your birthday age. So when we're wise beyond our years, a lot of people go, oh, they've got wisdom. When we look, younger than we normally are, and I'm a testimony of this, because I just recently lost 50, 60 pounds, and everyone's going, dude, you look so much younger. And I'm like, I feel younger. I can move. My knees don't hurt. My back's not hurting. It's weird what happens when you make decisions. And I know that health was one of your journeys. And I know that, you had to make some financial decisions to make you financially free, financially smart. And here's the thing, at 21, you're basically already financially free, but you're just getting started.
Absolutely.
You know how freaking cool that is? You're just getting started. And, I tell people all the time, I wish you could get exposed to people who just think kind of not necessarily bigger, but different. I had a podcast yesterday where I said, so many people are looking at the final percent and they're like, oh my goodness, Greg, look at what you've built. This is so amazing. Your concept's great. And you're going on these national tours and you've got a great family. And you've got a great house and you've got clients and a successful coaching practice. How did you build that? And I'm looking at them and I'm saying, man, what you're looking at right now, you're looking at a hole, because I haven't even poured my foundation of what I'm actually building. And I know that the same is true for you. I think that's why you and I click so well, because a lot of people are going, 30 Airbnbs, you're 21. How did you build an empire? And you're going, empire? I haven't even poured my foundation yet. I just dug my hole.
Exactly.
And I think it's so powerful. So do you want to talk about some of the business, philosophy decisions, or do you want to talk about the health decisions, philosophy things? Because I know and you and I both know that a lot of those things kind of they weave together on decisions and confidence that you have as you carry through your life. Where do you want to start? You want to start on business or health?
I think let's start on health because that was the thing that led to me even having a business mindset in the first place. So it really laid the foundation for everything.
Okay. So let's talk about, your epiphany moment where you're like, whoa, something has to change. So talk to me about that thought process when you're like, enough's enough, never again, I'm changing right now.
Yeah, so my family was really, really sick, and we actually almost lost my dad because he was so sick. He had type 1 diabetes. We didn't know. He got really weak. He got rushed to the hospital. It was a very scary moment, and it's one of those moments that just kind of woke me up. It woke my family up, and we're like, okay, we need to make this decision to change. Something needs to change. I was dealing with autoimmunes. I had vitiligo and Hashimoto's. I had brain fog. Like I just, had depression, anxiety, all of that stuff. And the quality of our life was just not great. And we were like, okay, something needs to change. And losing my dad was the wake up call for that. Or almost losing my dad. And it just, yeah. So we all decided together, which is a big thing, having that community, having that support, the accountability. And we just said, okay, we need to change. And so the first thing we changed was our diet. And we took out all bad foods, all processed foods, sugars, carbs. We took a ton of that stuff out, and we just went super clean: meats, vegetables, healthy fats, and probiotics. And that within a few weeks, that started changing our life. The vitiligo on my skin, which is like white spots, it started filling in. The brain fog started lifting from all of our minds. Like I could think more clearly. And so once that started happening and we started seeing the change that way, my mom and brother lost a ton of weight. My dad got healthy again. And then our mindset started shifting because now our mind was more open to learning. We could handle more. And then the right people started coming into our life, mentors and teachers. And, they say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And that's exactly what happened. We became ready. And then that's when the right people started showing up in our lives. And we got introduced to new concepts that we, didn't even know were possible, like business, owning a business, Airbnb, all that stuff. I won a ticket to what was called the Elevator Boot Camp in Hollywood. It was my very first business conference I had ever been to. I'd won a ticket online. The ticket was for the event, though. It was the next day. We were in Colorado. I was in California, so my mom and I rented a car. We drove through the night just so I could get there on time because I just had a feeling I needed to be there. And saw Ed Milet, Lewis House, talked to so many business owners. For the first time, I think this was when I was 17. And my mind just got opened to the possibilities. I had never heard people talk this way. I had never heard so much abundance before. The numbers that they were making every month, the people that they were helping, the impact they were making, I had just never heard of anything like that. And so at the time I was working on a college degree, but after that experience, I came home, told my mom, like, hey, I want to get into business, dropped out of college, went into real estate. My mom and I got our license at the same time, and we started our real estate business. And then that's when everything just kind of was flowing. We had so many amazing mentors come into our life to teach about real estate. We had Amanda Williams come in and teach us about Airbnb. And it was just, along with a few other mentors, and it was just magic. And we worked really, really hard. But if we didn't have our health under control, we wouldn't have had the energy to do it. We wouldn't have had the mental capacity. And it was the health that really helped set us into this path. And So now, you know, we spent about 2 years building and building and building. We didn't see any results, and we were starting to get a little discouraged. It was we put so much money into it, and like I had, since I was a kid, I had been saving up any like birthday money that I got, like anything for odd jobs. I had walked dogs. I saved like a ton of money, like just random money since I was like 5 years old. And I had this, by the time I was done with high school, I had a pretty good little nest egg. And that's what I used to like get my real estate license and everything. Like that's what I invested into.
Oh, that's so cool.
Into the business. And so to see like going from having this little nest egg to having zero and still not seeing any like results in 2 years, you know, not making a lot of money, but putting in all these hours, like 16-hour days, and not seeing any result, it was a little discouraging. And we were like, what did we do? Like, what's going to happen? But then we, you know, we had a community, we had mentors that were like, hey, just keep going. Like, you're building momentum right now. Just keep moving forward. It's going to happen. And sure enough, we did, and our name started getting out, and people started talking about us. And then the last year and a half just exploded. And that's when we went from like 3 Airbnbs to 30. And that's when we just had this massive success. If you're like, oh, it's overnight success, it's like, no, it was like 2 years of building these systems and foundations. And
don't you love when people are always like, oh, look at your overnight success. And you're just like looking like, overnight, like it's a long night.
Very long night.
You know, one of the things that I'm looking up a quote really quick on my computer that I just think is important. But while I look that up, you know, one of the things that I really think that people need to hear about, one thing that you said is, you know, a lot of people pay for coaches and they go to the seminars and they do all of these things. And then what tends to happen is people will actually take their foot off the gas because they feel like, oh, well, now it's easy. Oh, now, well, I hired someone. No, you didn't. When you hire a coach, you don't hire an employee. And if you listen to what you said right after, I found all the right mentors, and then we started working really, really hard.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I'm training other coaches, one of the things that I tell people all the time is you have to kill the silver bullet as fast as possible. Because when people hire you, especially if there's a lot of money involved, they think that it's a done for you service, and they think that it's guaranteed. And nothing's ever guaranteed, especially if you won't work. And so I think, you know, we're talking about 17 to 21. And then in the last year and a half, you exploded from 3 to 30. And, you know, we know that your next evolution is probably going to be 300. You know, you're an impact player at just such a level. And that's why, you know, since I met you, you know, you've been to our last 3 summits, and you just have this like magical spark about you. We met in Nashville at Coach Bert's thing. You were there with Amanda Williams. And it is just such an interesting thing, you know, because I see so much of me, like the young entrepreneurial spirit in you, only you are so much more focused than I was at 21. I mean, if I had your discipline and dedication and work ethic when I was, oh my goodness. So I know one of your passions is to coach other young people so that they can realize that it is possible for them. I just found this quote, and I'm going to read it. It's by Napoleon Hill, and it says, "When riches begin to come, they come so quickly in such great abundance that one wonders where they have been hiding during all those lean years." And that's just the way it starts to happen. I can't tell you, you know, I remember having a conversation before, you know, it was about a year before we met. I had a conversation with Valfred, who's my media guy, and he was going to move, and I was trying to, you know, do this speaking thing, and I hadn't had any really successful gigs yet. And so, this is about 4 or 5 years ago for me as well. And, we made a decision that day to where, he wasn't going to move uh, to LA, and he was going to stick with me for a while longer, and we were going to try to build it. And, now we're getting put on these tours, and we're getting, all expenses paid, and it's first class accommodations, first class airline tickets, and getting picked up from the airport, and, all these things. And we're just going, you remember when we made that decision, like, 4 years ago or 5 years ago, whenever that decision got made, and now this is where we are. Imagine, did I freeze? I look like
you froze, but I can still hear your voice.
Well, if anyone's watching this, I want you to look at my face, because it looks like I am absolutely deep in thought. So, maybe I'll just reset my HDMI. I looked down and I was like, wow, I'm deep in thought. Hopefully that resets it. Of course, this happens in the middle of a podcast. All right, we're gonna take I'm back.
There you go.
I was gonna take a break. But it's interesting. So on this last tour, we went to Canada, to Detroit, to Florida, to Salt Lake, to Phoenix, to Washington, D.C., Chicago. We had a big event in Denver. And by the end of this tour, because Valfred was going to go to LA again, because he was like, hey, pandemic's over, all these things, I want to go try my hand at that. He actually looks at me and he says, I don't want to go. I actually want to keep building this. And so he's actually staying and seeing success, because he's 21, and seeing success that is more relatable, like what you've done, I think is one of the catalysts, so that he can realize, hey, it really is possible for him. And so there's so many people that I think when you walk through life, you're inspiring without realizing it, whether they're, in their teens or they're 80, again, what you've accomplished through hard work, discipline, dedication is important. And I think, watching how far you've come, watching you build this thing, and then, like I had told you, I said, we're going to watch you on stage, probably sometime way sooner than anyone realizes, especially you. You are going to be a catalyst for, I believe, a movement in the young people, hopefully across the world, but certainly America. But watching you operate and inspire and motivate passively, because that's what's happening right now. You're doing it passively. When you get active on this, because I know what happens when Alysia gets active. I was karting against this person, and I tried to pass her, and she just ran into me, and then was mad at me that she ran into me. I was like, how can you be this competitive? Like, this is 100% your fault. Like, you did this. But that didn't matter, because she was not winning against everyone else on the track at that time. So when you actively put your foot into this, I'm very excited to see what happens. So why don't you take me through a little bit of your thought process behind inspiring young people, some of the big challenges, because one of the things that I know is a challenge for you is, not getting taken seriously without having to state those facts that, quote unquote, validate you. But we don't give young people, I think, and I know that you agree with me on this, we don't give young people enough respect.
Right.
So talk me through just some of your business philosophies, your relationship with young entrepreneurs, and some of the, vision casting a little bit that you see the impact that you're going to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. I want to show young people that there's another way, because if you look at me and you look at majority of my peers and the people that I grew up with right now, they're just finishing college. They didn't really, a lot of them didn't even really know what they wanted to do. and they use college to find that. And then now they're finding that maybe the degree they got isn't actually going to get them a guaranteed job, and they have 100,000 in student loan debt, and they still don't know what they want to do in life. And it's just, and then here I am, and I have no debt, and I have a business that's making really good income, and I have a vision for my life, and I'm just focused. And I want to teach young people that there's different ways. I almost got trapped into that life. Like, I was going to college, I was going to get a computer science degree. Like, my dream, my goal at the time was to get a 9-to-5, like that I was making 100,000 a year. I thought that was amazing. Like, that's what I wanted. And because I didn't know, because it's not taught in schools, it's not just, these concepts aren't taught. I had to go to Hollywood to a business event to be introduced to these concepts. And so I want to just educate young people, like, hey, there is a different way. Like, I'm not saying anything's bad. Like, I'm not saying college is bad, because we need lawyers and doctors and all that stuff. I just want to tell people, like, hey, there's another option.
You want to raise the awareness.
For someone like me, like sitting at a 9-to-5, sitting at a desk, having to do computer science, like that would slowly crush my soul. Like, I love talking to people. I love being creative. I love doing my own thing. And so this just fits who I am so much better. And it bothers me that there's creatives out there, or people out there that don't know that this is an option because they've never been introduced to it. And so, and a lot of times young people, unfortunately, if they hear someone older than them talking about this or success or things like that, they think it's not possible, because they think, oh, that's down the road. They think, oh, I can't do that until I'm in my 30s, my 40s, my 50s. Like, that's that's for the future. They don't realize that, hey, like, success really doesn't take that much time. If you put in the time and effort, it happens pretty quickly. Like, yeah, I started at 17, but now I'm 21 and I have a successful business. That's really not that long.
And I'm going to guess that this business generates more than $100,000 a year.
It generates 100,000 a month.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about, girl.
Yeah.
See, that's
exactly.
And people need to hear this, to know that there is an easy, and the funny thing is, it's actually easier. It's sure you might have sacrificed a little bit of Netflix and chill time. You might have sacrificed, getting drunk at parties. Oh man, but the byproduct is you're going to be financially free for the rest of your life. Oh yeah, that's a good trade. That's a good trade. It's
an amazing trade. And now I get to have so many cool experiences. Like, I'm traveling so much. I got to go to Salt Lake with you guys. I get to hang out with these amazing individuals that are just so giving, and genuine. And I think there's, like, a lot of times, like, young people have, like, and people in general have, like, a negative look towards wealthy people or money. But, like, from what I've experienced and what I've seen, like, the money that we've been making, we've been able to help so many people. I mean, we have welcomed over 700 people to Colorado. We have helped them move to Colorado, make it less stressful. They are so grateful that sometimes they end up crying because they're so grateful for our services. And then not only that, but, like, we can help our family members. My grandparents had a hospital bill they needed covered, and we were just able to, like, hey, here you go. And we were able to cover it. So we're able to, like, help and give, help other people build wealth, because we can teach them how to do what we did. And then also the people that I've surrounded myself with, the Final Percent community and other people as well that are business owners and are wealthy, like, you can't outgive those people. They are so generous. They'll spend so much time with you. And it's just like, that kind of community is so valuable. And I think a lot of young people don't realize that. And so I just want to be the voice for young people, like, hey, look, it's possible sooner than you think. You just have to be willing to put in the work, and listen to your mentors, and not only listen but implement what they tell you, because they know what they're talking about, and all you have to do is take action on it. And it takes a while. I mean, success doesn't happen overnight. Like I said, we had 2 years of nothing.
Yeah.
And so, but now here's the byproduct of that hard work. And yeah, I just want to help show young people that there's a different way, because I almost got stuck in that 9 to 5, just trying to make 100,000 a year to get by, because I thought that that's what I needed to be comfortable. And
it's interesting, I'm hearing $100,000 a year a lot from people now. When I was young, it was the big number, believe it or not, was $60,000 a year. Like, I remember being your age and going, what would it be like to make $5,000 a month? Like, I remember thinking that, going, and that's literally before taxes. Like, just if that was my check, like, if, like, maybe not your age, maybe a little younger, like when I was like 17, when I was 16, still in school, and I was, trying to figure out what the heck am I going to do. I just remember, like, how could you possibly make that much money? And it's just so interesting how much the perspective will start to shift if I love what you said, not only listen to your mentors, but implement what they're saying. I can't tell you how many times I'm working with someone and they literally just, we have the same conversation over and over and over. So I've implemented a tactic where, hey, we're going to do stuff right now. We're going to figure this out right now. And full disclosure for everyone listening to this podcast, Alysia and I were talking, and she's like, I'm just struggling with, relevant content. I'm just struggling with this. And I said, okay, do we want to create some great content? And she said, yeah, sure. I said, okay, but I'm not going to tell you what we're going to do. And she said, okay, fine. Like, I trust you. Let's rock and roll. I pressed record on this Zoom call, and I said, welcome to the Final Percent podcast. And she's like, oh, I guess we're doing a podcast right now. And, it's important to just violently shove people into action, because sometimes they don't realize just how special they are. And because we got to remember, everything that we have inside of us is normal to us.
right.
So the way that I sing, other people will be like, oh my goodness, you're such a good singer. Well, that's normal for me. Like, it's normal for you. Like, I cannot imagine if I was 21. There's a reason God did not bless me with 30 properties when I was 21, because it would have gone really badly. I wasn't mature enough. I wasn't ready. But the thing is, that's normal for you. You know what it looks like to work really hard from 17, 18, 19, and then 2021 have things explode. You know what that looks like. You know what that feels like. So therefore, it's like a lot of people look at me as, this coach and all of these things. Whereas if I was talking to a 21-year-old who was trying to get their feet wet in real estate, you're actually a much better coach than I am. Because the same thing that you talked about, they're going to look at me and go, well, yeah, that's easy for you to say. Oh, yeah, but you're 30. Yeah, but you're established. Yeah, but you can talk. Yeah, but you can do this. They always do the yeah, but.
Right.
And you negate a lot of young people's yeah, buts. And I think that that's one big concept that we have to identify right now is there's a lot of people who will look at me or some of my friends, especially on this tour. You met a lot of the people who are, doing there's one guy in Chicago is like 1,300 deals. I'm just like, what? I don't even know I can't comprehend 1,300 real estate deals.
That's
and
insane.
So you get a 21-year-old hearing that, they're going to go, yeah, but that's not me. Yabba dabba do, So what we've got to do is introduce the young community to you, because there's so much of you that's needed and necessary. Because, like I said, there's 20s, 30s, 40s. There's people who met you, knew about you, found out about you, and went, I've got to talk to her. How
Yeah.
how did you do that? And guys, another just thing that I want to revisit, that, again, this was not prompted, because I only do this for people that I know they can show up. So if I'm going to throw someone on the spot, and this, I might, instead of wait until Monday, I might just throw this recording over to Owen and say, put this out on Tuesday, put this out right now, because the world needs more time with Alysia, because we're going to create some freaking content together, because she's a badass. And the more people need to understand who you are. But a thing I want to revisit is, she didn't necessarily come back and talk to you guys about how. She immediately went into who. Hey, our health did this. We were scared of this. My eyes got opened around who. And then we said, oh, we can do this. And then mentors came into our life. The student was ready. The teacher appears. And then we listened to our mentors. She immediately went to who in every single sense of the word. And that's one of the things that Alysia and I are doing behind the scenes, is we want to create a who in her for all of the young people out there. And you know what? It's not just the young people. And this is why at the beginning, this is much more thought out than I think that Alysia thought it was. But there's a reason why I said, your biological age, your mental age, your physical age, your birthday age, your financial age, all these things. Because there are people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s who are still babies in their entrepreneurial age.
Right.
And you are inspiring to every single one of those decades that I just talked about. Because there's people in their 70s who have one Airbnb, and they're looking at you going, how in the world did you do that? Well, hey, I'm your who. Come talk to me, and I'll help you get from one Airbnb to 30. I know exactly how to get to 30. And in those 2 years, on all the times that things weren't working, I'll bet you also know how to not get to 32. There's probably a couple mistakes where you're like, no, I've done that. Don't do that. Trust me, this is not the way.
Oh yeah, there's so many of those.
And that's the thing. We've got to empower people, inspire people, motivate people they raise their hand and they say, hey, I'm willing to be a who. It's like Dr. Seuss. We're just all trying to create Whoville. We want to be the who's that will take you to just love Christmas, love life, bring the joy of entrepreneurship back into your spirit, because America is so freaking fantastic. It just frustrates me to all heck on everyone who wants to attack this amazing country, because, and this happened to me recently. I was having a conversation with someone, and I think that they thought that I didn't like America. To be very clear, I'm pretty sure there's an American flag on my back. So watch the YouTube, and I know there's one on the arm. Boom, America. But they were talking to me and this and this and this and this, and I had to stop them, and I said, hey, really quick, here's what I need you to understand. I know that America has its flaws. Sometimes we are the drunk older brother that kicks the door in and leaves military bases everywhere. I get that. It's not awesome. Sometimes we play world police. I get that. But here's what America has been to me. I was unbelievably poor in my family, and we were so scared of money, and we fought about it constantly. And I'm talking about when I was a little kid playing with Legos on the floor. I still remember all of the violence in my house and the fights in my house surrounding money. And I was able to make a decision, because I live in such an incredible country, to where I could change the stars of my family, to where I could change the entire trajectory for legacies to come of my family. And now I'm able to help my mom and dad. I'm able to equip them. I'm able to pay some of their bills. I'm involved with this great company called Renatus. It's literally what I got my mom for her birthday, because she said, even though I'm 70, she just turned 70, I'm not giving up on what's possible for me, because Greg, you've given me hope. And I still want to learn finances at the level that I should have when I was Alysia's age. Like, and this is what I love about my mom. She looks at someone like you and she doesn't go, oh man, I wish I would have done that when I was 21. She looks at you and she's still able to get inspired instead of cynical. And she goes, oh, that's cool. That's what financial awareness can get you. And I mean, it helps that my mom absolutely adores you. Which,
feeling sexual.
I mean, you're part of the family. You came to my son's first year birthday. And to be clear, that little music thing that you bought him, he still plays with every single day doing the DJ thing. So,
I love that.
but if we watch what happens, we were able to make a decision and change everything instead of the default life. You almost lost your dad to health, and then it was it's kind of like life putting the paddles on your chest and jolting you back to life and going, okay, it's time to make some different decisions.
Right.
And we were able to change so much about what's possible. And now the kids that you have, your entire family, we were just talking about recently, how weird it is when we go back and visit other family members and they're like, wait, you're doing what? Wait, you paid how much for a ticket at a seminar? Wait, you joined what mastermind? Wait, what are you talking about? This sounds crazy. Well, that's why we're in different financial positions, because I made the crazy decisions. I put the ball in my hand so that I could score the touchdown, instead of constantly putting it in someone else's hand saying, hey, will you go score me a touchdown? That's not how it works.
Right.
So one other thing that I actually want to talk about, two things before we get off here, because you're fantastic. And again, the world needs to know more about you. Talk to me about your relationship with your brother.
So my brother is probably one of my best friends. He's 14 years old. We're 7.5 years apart, and he's awesome. You would never know he's 14. He's That's true. Over 6 foot now, full beard. It's crazy.
I don't like how he's taller than me. I remember the days when we first met, he was not taller than me. I grow fond of those memories. It's amazing how many people get taller than me, but at 5'7", it happens quickly.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. He's super smart. He's going to be something amazing as well. And he's already working in the family business, helping with property management and all that stuff. So he's great. He's super funny, and yeah, we're really close.
How cool is it to be able to say the family business?
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful.
It's so cool.
Now, I got the opportunity to actually spend some time with this person recently, and she joined you at my most recent retreat that was at my house. Talk to me about your relationship with your mama. Yeah,
so my mom, we work so well together. We've always been really close. And when I told her, like, hey, like I think I want to get into entrepreneurship, she instead of being like, oh, you need to finish college or whatever, she was like, okay, I support you. And she was all for it, and she was ready to go, and she got her license the same time I got mine, and we went through the entire process together. And she's just been like the biggest supporter in my success, and one of the biggest reasons why I'm successful today. And because she's just been right there, like, helping, and we balance each other out very well, because like what I'm not good at, she's good at, and vice versa. And so it's like in the business, we've been able to really help each other learn and grow, and just we fill in where the other one lacks. And it's just, it's been an incredible experience to build a business with my mom. Just, there's something powerful about that mother-daughter team. Yeah. And, that doesn't go without saying. There has been like challenges. There's always challenges when you mix family and business, but like we are so close that we're able to work through it and, keep moving forward. And it's just, it's been fun. it's been a lot of fun just seeing what we've been able to build together, because ultimately it was us at the beginning deciding to do this together.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh wow, we were able to build this to where we retired my dad from his 9 to 5, and now he got to join the business, and now my brother gets to join the business, and now we're looking to hire other people, and it's just like, it's so cool to see what we were able to build together, and it's definitely helped strengthen our relationship.
That's so good. You know, one of the big things that I don't know how many times you said it, but the word that really showed up when talking about your mama was the word support.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that so much. And, you know, the reason I wanted to bring it up is me too, with my mom. I had so much support from that woman. It was frightening, you know, and sometimes so much so, like, she shouldn't have been supporting me, because I was on my like 20th failure, and any rational mother would have been like, okay, enough's enough. Get to college. But she just stuck by my side. And it was so fun to spend time with you and your mom at my most recent retreat, because watching your relationship with her and watch her, you know, you probably didn't see this, because like, especially like people, I'm telling you, if you ever get the opportunity to go to an event with Alysia, do it, number one, well, you can, because very soon she's just going to be the one on stage, and it's going to be really hard to get to her. But if she tells you, hey, I'm going to this event, just go with her. But be warned, when she's in the audience, she is so laser focused, locked on, because she is so present and really wanting to transform her life. I mean, she's there. And so the reason I bring that up is there are so many times where I'm on stage and I'll make eye contact with you, and you are laser focused, and I'm sweeping the room. I come back and you're still laser focused, and I'm sweeping the room, and then I'm like, man, this person is like a heat-seeking missile to knowledge. But the thing that you didn't see was how many times I would, when I'm speaking and I'd make eye contact with you, this lady next to you, your mother, would be looking at you with the biggest smile.
Aww.
And it just warmed my heart so much, because what would happen is I'd see your mama smiling, and then my mom was at the event, so then I look at my mom, and then she's looking at me smiling, and I'm like, this is gonna be hard not to cry up here. So
so sweet.
I just, you know, the support that you have with your family, I think, you know, not just you inspiring young people, you know, the same way that you don't want the older generation to pigeonhole you and not respect you. You know, from a coaching tip to you, I would say, yes, you can have a focus. It's kind of like your major in school. You can have a focus on young people, but don't discount how powerful you are to the next generation and the past generation. Because these older people, one of the things that I've learned through Conrad, my son, he breathes life into me every time I see him, you know, discover something for the first time, or, you know, if he has a ball and he finally figures out where it goes on this like little wooden thing that we got him, and he's like, oh my God, that's the way it works. And I get so excited about things like that. And, you know, I was playing with him on the floor last night, and it's activating me, the wonder of life. And I think that you can do that for so much of the past generation. And I think you are needed and necessary in every part of the entrepreneurial spectrum than you necessarily give yourself credit for. Because I watched in Renatus, when people started hearing your story, I watched them light up and go, who is that? Not how did she do that? Who is that? I want to go talk to that who. And so that's what I'm saying. I'm honored that, you know, we're doing a lot of things together. I'm honored you're a part of the Final Percent community, but more so, I am absolutely so proud of who you are for saying, hey, I'm willing to be a who for whoever needs one. And you are going to be a freaking superstar. And I know it. I literally know it. And mark my words, we're going to put this podcast out. And I don't know if it's going to be 2 years. Maybe she's on this 2-year cycle of superstardom. I don't know. But at some point, we're going to be able to go back, and she's gonna be coaching Elena Cardone someday.
Oh
and
my goodness.
We're gonna be able to come back to this podcast, and I'm gonna be like, I called it. I'm just saying, I knew it. So anyway, thank you so much, Alysia, for joining us on the Final Percent podcast. And I'm sure we're going to have you as a repeat visit, because we want the community and the world to get to know you. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Greg. This was awesome.
The final percent.